My friend groomed my daughter, a father's rage and fight for justice. My life has become a living nightmare. I'm teetering on the edge, ready to detonate. And it all centers around one thing: my boyfriend's son. It's a situation so toxic, so draining, that I'm questioning everything I thought I knew about love and commitment. My boyfriend thinks I should put up with his son's mistreatment of me because he's autistic. Am I the fuck for being ready to end the relationship? You better believe I was. Update: I took my baby and left last night. The weight of that decision is crushing. But the alternative? Unthinkable. I'm hiring a lawyer to seek sole custody. This isn't a battle I can afford to lose. Thank you for all the advice and kind words. I'm going to need every ounce of it. His son is 18, but functions at a 12 to 13-year-old level. He claims he's high-functioning, but frankly, I don't see it. My boyfriend's parents raised his son, and they were and still are incredibly permissive with him. He sleeps all day, is taken out for dinner every single day, has zero responsibilities, and refuses to get a job. I know there are places that hire disabled people, but he's flat out said he's not going to work. The worst part: he treats his grandmother like shit, calling her horrible names like bitch, and he still gets whatever he wants, just handed to him on a silver platter. I can't stand it. My boyfriend and I have a 5-month-old son together, and when he was a newborn, my postpartum depression was so bad I was hospitalized. That's when everything spiraled out of control. His son thinks I abandoned my son because I didn't want to take care of him, and there's no convincing him otherwise. This has resulted in him screaming at me, telling me he hates me and wants me to leave. This isn't the first time this has happened, either. It's a recurring nightmare. I've begged my boyfriend to talk to him, but he always says he didn't raise him and nothing would change even if he did. Now, he's dropping the ultimate ultimatum: if I can't accept his son, then we can't be together. It's not about me not accepting him. I've known since the beginning of our relationship, almost 3 years, that his son is autistic, and I genuinely loved him, even felt maternal towards him. His own mother basically abandoned him, so I felt bad for him. But now, I don't exactly like him because he's spoiled and entitled. I accept him, but I didn't sign up to be mistreated and disrespected and be told to deal with it or leave. My boyfriend takes it as though I can't accept his kids, but that's not it at all. Honestly, I'm ready to end things. The rest of his family sweeps it under the rug too. They said they're trying to teach him about PPD, but it's not working so far. I know he's jealous because he sees his dad engage with our son like he wasn't with him. But I'm not going to put up with him treating me like shit because he's projecting his anger at his mom and dad onto me. I feel that my boyfriend doesn't love or respect me by telling me to deal with it. I even worrying that he's going to do this to someone in public and they'll hurt him. More than that, I'm terrified he's going to physically attack me one day. And I'm tired of not being able to take care of my son without him staring me down. He even brings my son to everyone but me. I'm tired of everyone excusing it as his autism. Autistic people know better than to talk to people that way. I think it's because he's never been told no a day in his life. I love my boyfriend, but I'm not prepared to deal with being verbally abused every day. His son is on meds, but they clearly need to be adjusted. He's about to start therapy again, too. But is it enough? Should I leave? TLDR, boyfriend and his family excuse his son's mistreatment of me as just his autism. Boyfriend says deal with it and accept his kids or it's over. I accepted his kids but didn't sign up to be treated like us and told to deal with it. Ready to leave him. Story 2. I thought I'd escaped hell, but the truth was far more twisted than I could ever imagine. After being disastrously, truly abused by my stepfather, I went to live with my dad. Recently, I discovered a secret that shattered my reality. He chose me over my former stepmother and half-sister. The revelation came years after enduring unspeakable trauma. I was sexually abused between the ages of 9 Both he and my mom will be behind bars for many years to come. When I was sent to live with my dad, I was broken. I barely spoke. Didn't eat much, if at all. I wasn't mad or angry. I was devoid of any kind of emotion. I kept my interactions with everyone to the bare minimum. I was polite, but didn't go out of my way to make conversation with anyone. I was more social with my dad, but I kept it to a bare minimum. I had nothing left to say to anyone. It took me 2 years to even allow my dad to show any form of parental affection towards me. That's how withdrawn I had become. Dad was my rock throughout the whole thing. When I experienced night terrors, I would wake up and either find my dad holding my hand or him holding me. He drove me to all of my therapist appointments. He made sure I was eating properly. There were days I would break down for no reason, and he would just hold me and tell me that everything will be okay. He literally went above and beyond. I hated the city we were living in because I had so many bad experiences there. It made living there miserable. I was so passive. It was scary. My therapist had told my dad that I was stuck in the victim cycle, and I didn't know how to get out. Because of this, I was bullied quite a bit. By the time I was 15, I had been to 3 different schools. It got to the point where my dad pulled me out of public school and enrolled me in online classes. I was always very studious and managed to maintain a 94% average overall. But my life lacked any sort of direction. Nothing would motivate me. Looking back, Dad did spoil me, but at the time I wasn't aware of it. I was so in my own head that I barely acknowledged my surroundings. If I asked my dad for a new bed, he would get me a new one plus new furniture. My phone, at 5 years, broke and Dad got a new one plus a. I was grateful and thanked him. I did share with my half-sister and stepsister at the time. Again, I was being polite. I didn't have any form of relationship with my former stepmother, stepsister, or half-sister. I barely knew what it was like being a son at the time, let alone being a brother. By the time I was 16, Dad had approached me and told me that he are moving out. I didn't ask why. He had asked me to pack my things, and we moved into a rental. I didn't think it was any of my business, so I didn't press the issue. A year later, Dad had divorced my step. One of Dad's business acquaintances offered him a partnership in Boston, and he took it. We moved, and I felt I was ready to start my senior year of high school That year was probably the best year of my life. I was coming out of my shell. There was no fear of being judged or being the odd man out. It was as if I was like everyone else. I felt normal. I became more social, made a lot of friends, got into sports, clubs, and went out more. US moving probably saved my life. Because we had moved 9 hours away from my half-sister. She would only come visit us on long weekends and a month during summer break. There was always a form of tension between my dad and half-sister. You could just sense it. It got to the point where, as she got older, she stopped coming entirely. Me and Dad have always been close. When I had graduated from high school and gave my valedictorian speech, I could see my dad crying in the crowd. I lived with my dad while I attended college. I still do for the time being. Ever since I was a child, I always wanted to be a doctor. Well, I just finished my first year of medical school. Honestly, I feel like a normal young adult in society. I have a job, friends, a boyfriend whom I've been with for years. I'm thriving in all aspects of my life. Recently, I got a Facebook message from my half-sister. She was apologizing a lot, and I had no clue what she was talking about. Turns out, the reason why Dad and I moved out from my stepmother's home was because my half-sister told my stepmother that I was watching her. Yes, she told her mom that I was watching her change. At the heck, I was terrified of any form of The kid was envious of what Dad was doing for me. She was so envious that she tried to move me out. Well, I guess her mom and my dad got into a big fight. And I'm only going to assume that she did not want me in the house because we moved out. I think it's safe to assume my dad didn't believe. How can someone be so cruel? What did I ever do to her? Those were the questions that were racing through my head. I didn't even respond. More importantly, Dad never let this get back to me. Chances are if I had heard about this when I was 16, that would have been the final nail in the... It also explains the tension between my dad and Half. This is a lot to take in. And I have a newfound respect and love for my dad. He gave up this marriage for me so I could live a normal life. My dad is away on a business trip and won't be back for a few more days. I'm missing him a lot lately. Should I bring it up to him when he returns? Also, would it be fair for me to just cut my half-sister out of my life entirely? At the same time, it's sad that their relationship is almost non-existent, and I almost want to help. TLDR, Dad chose me over my stepmother and half-sister after my half-sister told a very dangerous lie that could have potentially ruined my life. Should I bring up with Dad? Edit, I wasn't expecting such a huge response. I just wanted to say thank you for all the feedback. It will take some time, but I will read all of them or as much as I can. As I was going through the comments, I found a number of people questioning the integrity of this. This is a part of my life. I don't normally like to talk about this. Aside from myself, my dad, and close friends, not many people know about this. The fact that people are saying that it's fake. I don't know what to say. It's not my place to try and convince anyone. Believe me, but that's not possible. When I wrote this, I wasn't thinking about syntax. It was more just getting this out. People question its integrity based on grammatical errors. Forgive me, but I wasn't in the mindset to reread and go over. As for how I became valedictorian, and a number of people were very curious. I did respond to it in the comments, but I'll post it here too. It was very unorthodox how I became valedictorian after attending a real HS for only a year. My overall average was the highest in my graduating class, but because I was in online classes, this is for my previous years. I was ineligible at the time. I met with the great coordinator and inquired about my chances, and her response was the same. I broke down in front of the coordinator, and I told her the truth. Being named valedictorian was something I always wanted. To be that would have been my first accomplishment that I would have achieved based on my own merit. Yes, there is also the likelihood of getting a free ride to colleges. It wasn't trying to be valedictorian for financial reason. Money wasn't a problem. Dad did make a lot. It was more this being my first official achievement. This would have helped me self-worth as well. The girl who was originally going to be valedictorian did meet with me, and I told her the truth. She actually talked to the administration to let me be valedictorian instead. It's something I'll forever be grateful. That's actually how me and her became friends. Not many people would do that, and in H. I'll be posting again. I just need a few days. Story 3. My blood is running cold. A slow burn fear has erupted into a full-blown inferno. And it's all because of a friend I thought I knew. An old friend of mine has been acting inappropriately towards my daughter, and I am taking steps to protect her, whatever the cost. The last few months, I've been chatting to a friend more regularly than before. We've been friends for over a decade, and we used to be really close, but we slowly drifted apart. I should probably mention we are both men in our 40s. It's been great catching up with him, and honestly, I really needed a friend. So it's just been great. He's got a long-term girlfriend and 2 young children. A couple of months ago, we visited his house for the first time. He recently moved, and we weren't speaking much before that, just an occasional comment on Facebook. And me, my 14-year-old son, and 20-year-old daughter spent a few hours honestly just chatting about nothing, but in a good way. While we were there, I noticed that he kept looking at my daughter out of the corner of his eye. I never really caught him fully looking, so I thought nothing of it, especially as he has known my kids for over a decade. I didn't mention it to my daughter as I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable if it was nothing. A couple of months went past, and we visited them again. He kept talking to my daughter and not really to me, which is fine, but it just seemed odd when my daughter has really bad anxiety. Daddy, and she can't really hold a conversation, and she makes it clear when she's uncomfortable talking. He just seemed to keep looking at her and talking. Even if he was talking to me, he would just look at her. The final straw was last week. We visited them, and we've been having a heat wave, so we were all dressed in as minimal as possible, my daughter in a thin pair of skirts and my son in a pair of athletic shorts and a gym top, and me in a polo shirt and white chinos. Nothing unusual, just basic summer wear. When we were in conversation, he would look at my daughter. When anyone told a joke, he would smirk a little or give a small laugh, depending, to the point that even she would look awkward. He kept dropping out of conversation and just staring at her. I think she noticed it as well because she started to lean back in her chair to try to cover herself. Even though she was fine, she looked uncomfortable. Then, when the sun set, she put on a thick jacket and zipped it up. I don't know if he's just trying to be friendly and he doesn't know how to act, or if he's only inviting us around to stare at her. And if so, then I don't know. I don't know what to do. Yes, she's 20, but she's still my little girl. And this man watched her grow up. It just seems strange. I don't know if I should say something or just don't go around there again. Either way, I think it's the end of the friendship, which is a shame. But oh well. Update, edits at the end of post. I spoke to my daughter about the whole thing and wanted to know what she thought about it all because I didn't want to say anything if she didn't think it was. She told me that after the first time we saw him again, a few months ago, he had appeared outside her work after she finished her shift and asked if she wanted a lift home instead of getting the bus. She said that since he was a good friend of mine, she trusted him and got in his car. On the ride home, he repeatedly touched her leg and started talking about how much she's changed since he saw her last before we all met and how much of an adult she looks now. He told her she's growing into her body like a good girl. My daughter said that she would walk the rest of the way home because she didn't want to put him out too much, but he insisted on driving her all the way. She said she kept moving away from him, but he was leaning to touch her knees. She said that at a red light not long before the house, he gave her his mobile number and texted himself from her phone and told her to call him if she wanted a lift or anything else. Then, when she got home, she went to leave the car, but he grabbed her arm and asked her where his hug and kiss goodbye was. Not a new thing, he gives us all a hug every time. And when she leaned in, he held her tight and whispered that she should call him. In the last few months since then, he has repeatedly been sending her explicit texts and images and waiting outside her work, asking her if she would like a lift home, even though every time she said no. She said she didn't want to say anything because she didn't want to upset me as he was the only friend I had. I feel sick thinking about it. This is my daughter. She's 20, but she's still my little girl, and I feel like I've put her in danger. I've messaged him asking him to stop contacting my family, and I've sent him the screenshots from her phone as reasons why. But he is messaging me asking me why when she is an adult and the only sleazy thing he's done is cheat on his girlfriend, as my daughter never physically said that. I'm so angry at him and myself. Edit, I'd like to say thanks to everyone for the advice. Also, I've been getting a lot of mom comments, and although I appreciate the sentiment very much, I am her dad. Unfortunately, her mom passed away quite a few years ago, but I really appreciate that everyone thought I was her mom. It really is the biggest compliment to me. I must be doing something right. We went and spoke to our local police, and they couldn't really help us as she had willingly gotten into his car. They did say that as we have spoken to him already, They could keep a file open, and if it continues, then they would be able to take action. Honestly, it seems that they don't really care about it at all, which is alarming and upsetting. We sent the screenshots and an explanation to his girlfriend, and we've had some missed calls from him. But that's not our problem. We've blocked him on everything and have completely removed him from every social media. My daughter has spoken to her work, and they have said that until she is able to find another job, they will ensure that at least one other member of staff will wait with her for the bus. And I will be meeting her at the first stop in our town to take her directly home on days I'm not working and on days she is safe. I also had a lot of comments suggesting I get violent with this man. Although I do appreciate that a lot of people would be choosing the other route of resolving the problem face to face. I'm not like that. I'd like to say that there's no problem I couldn't solve that way. But that's simply not me. It doesn't make me a bad dad either. I found another way to solve the problem and make sure my daughter is safe and comfortable. Thank you all for your help and advice. It's nice to find some support through the internet sometimes. It's not your fault. But you need to have a sit down and talk through the socialization for women to be nice and how to get past that mental. This is something a lot of us go through, and it puts us in really awful situations. Help her understand that her safety is the most important thing. She doesn't have to be nice or put up with things like. There's probably some very eloquent people who can speak to this topic on YouTube, but I want to make sure she knows she doesn't have to take this as for the rest of her life, even with the anxiety and desire not to rock any boats. I've told her many times growing up that if she doesn't feel comfortable doing something, no matter what it is, then she needs to say that. It doesn't matter if it upsets someone or offends someone. All that matters is that she is safe and comfortable. I'm hoping that she will be like this from now on. And I just hope that she knows I'm here for her no matter what. Also, there's an update to the post. Thank you for your comment. Get her a weapon. We're in the UK, so she's legally not allowed any weapons, including pepper. The only thing she is allowed is an alarm. We are looking into some objects which can be carried around legally or discreetly. Currently, we are looking into a key ring which is like a long sharpened stick. No, there's not many places willing to ship them to us. I'm so very sorry to hear what you have been through and I wish you well throughout your life. Closing for all stories. After hearing everything, what do you think? Did I handle this situation the right way? Was leaving the only option? Should I have confronted my boyfriend sooner? Or am I overreacting entirely? I'm desperate for some honest perspectives, so please share your thoughts. Any and all feedback is welcomed as I navigate this incredibly difficult time in my life.